Hey guys, Titania here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Republic Fleet Firetail, which is a Mimitar faction frigate, and the fit that I'm using is a dual prop control style fit, very similar to the dual prop control Dramiel, but it's significantly cheaper. The Firetail hull only costs about 11 million ISK, whereas the Dramiel costs normally just under 40 million ISK, around 36 to 40 mil usually. And also, it doesn't cost as much as it says here, because the small ancillary armor repair doesn't cost 8 mil anymore, thank god. Ever since last week Tuesday patch, it's gonna drop. It's now about 3 million ISK in jitter. When I bought it, hopefully it'll go down to around 1 million ISK, where it probably should be, because they boosted the drop rate in data sites significantly for the for the short future. Anyway, not sure when they're gonna roll that back, but we'll see. Anyway, obviously the Dramiel is much better than this, because the Dramiel gets the drones, it gets a fall-off bonus, it's smaller, it's faster. So, but this is significantly cheaper. So in the highs, I've got two 200mm autocannons, and I also just got a named NOS. The autocannons are just the highest tier for the most damage and the most fall-off, but you can go down a size. The NOS, also, you can also go for the compact one if you need better fittings. Going for a smaller size autocannons might also be good in some situations too, because then you get better tracking on them. And then just got a compact Microwarpdrive, a faint Epsilon Scram, a fleeting compact web, and a Tech 2 Afterburner. Again, you can go for the compact Afterburner 2 if you need a bit more fitting, but I liked having the Tech 2 Afterburner just because you want as much speed as possible when you're running your Afterburner. And then just gyro, small ancillary, Tech 2 damage control. Just, you know, basic lows. And then I've got three Tech 2 small hull HP rigs, small Transverse Bulkheads 2s. These just give you a nice buffer. With these rigs, we have almost 6k EHP, which is more than my Kestrel with the medium shield extender, for example. And then we still have a small ancillary on top of that. So the idea is that with the structure HP, we have a lot of just raw buffer with decent omni resist, and that's going to keep us alive long enough to get off these small ancillary charges, and then also get off extra non-pace charges while running the Nosferatu. The bonuses on the Firetail are 25% bonus to small projectile damage. This basically means it has 4.5 small turrets total. The Rifter has 3.75 as an example. So this is like if the Rifter bonus was 10% per level instead of 5% per level, if you want a comparison. And then, of course, so this is kind of what makes the fit, is the 10% bonus to small projectile turret tracking speed. Most tracking speed bonuses are only 7.5%, not 10%. This is a theme that quite a lot of the Mimitar faction ships have, such as the Stabber Fleet issue and the Hurricane Fleet issue, since it's kind of semi-remake a couple of years ago. And so that's a 50% bonus to tracking speed, which is quite nice. So the entire purpose of this fit, essentially, is use your Microwarpdrive to roam around and also to catch kiters, and you can also brawl too. And the idea is you orbit closely at 500 meters with this Afterburner, and then you apply a Scram and Web to them. So you're significantly faster than them. In nullsec, this works because most people don't fit Afterburners, or if you're going up against dual prop setups, usually they don't actually have AB Scram and Web. The exception is really only the Hookbill and Control Dramiel Control Firetail here. So essentially you will have range control, you'll be orbiting in them at 500, you'll be killing a lot of their tracking or their missile DPS, and then of course you're not killing your own tracking as much because you have this huge tracking speed bonus. So you go under the guns, and also you got a lot of sustain. So even if you're both killing tracking, you know, you're continually running your small ancillary, especially with the NOS. The Firetail cap is pretty bad here, but you will be using your NOS to suck off their own cap, which will also help you kill them faster too, because you'll cap them out. And it's better for you to cap them out because you actually have, you know, a lot of structure HP resist here. Like, you have almost 3k EHP in structure. So you have a pretty decent buffer too if you both end up being capped out. So yeah, that's the fit. It works out pretty well. The Dramiel obviously is better, as I mentioned, because the Dramiel has a fall-off bonus. The Dramiel has the drones. The Dramiel does do slightly less turret DPS. It gets 20% instead of 25%. Well, actually, I think it's a 100% roll bonus. I can't remember the Dramiel bonuses completely. I just know the Dramiel gets tracking, fall off, and raw damage. The drones on the Dramiel, obviously, they always track because they're independent of your own speed. And the drones also are independent of range. And the Dramiel with the fall off bonus has the option to control Scram Kite at 8 or 9 kilometers if it needs to against blaster ships, which the Firetail doesn't really have an option to. But what the Firetail does have is it's significantly more engageable than the Dramiel. The Firetail kind of has a mediocre reputation, I would say, since there's so many Firetail fits and not many people fit them all that well. I think the Firetail just has kind of like somewhat of a bad reputation. A lot of people will fight a Firetail even when they shouldn't be fighting it, like in an interceptor or a Tech 1 frigate, or in, you know, like a long range destroyer, like a Arty Thrasher, or, you know, Beam Confessor or Rail Hecate, and completely underestimate it and then die to it. So it's definitely got that going for it. And also, it's cheaper than the Dramiel 2, and, you know, it's pretty cheap overall, actually. You know, the Firetail hull's only around 10 mil, while the Minotaur are at tier 5. So yeah, it's fun, cheap, as far as faction frigates go anyway in nullsec. And I actually really enjoyed flying this, so hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I did. If you want something a bit more affordable than the Dramiel and a bit more engageable, you get a lot more fights, and because it's cheaper, you can take more dangerous fights too, which is great. So I've got a few clips, check them out, and thanks for watching. So this fight's quite interesting. I just got done killing a Crusader with a Hecate. I killed the Crusader and then warped out. I was quite low, and I'm reloading my Ancillary now. The Hecate had rails, and I just warped to a gate. He followed me to an anomaly that I warped out to. Then he came on D-scan, so I assumed he was following me. This is what I was talking about when I mentioned that the Firetail had a really bad reputation. A lot of people really underestimate it. I think this guy, because he saw me get low from fighting the Crusader with the Crusader and him shooting me, that he could maybe take me even at 0. So he makes a mistake here. He engages. He doesn't have a web. He only has a disruptor. He does start moving away to try and get tracking on me. The Hecate does get a 33% bonus to tracking. But with rails, he's not going to be able to track my dual prop control Firetail. So I'm just able to just coast under his guns here. Don't even have to run the Ancillary. Not even going to bother repairing my armor damage here. I wanted to also make him think that maybe I was still reloading or something, and maybe he'll be a bit less hesitant about trying to de-aggress or calling in friends if he thought there was a bigger chance that he might be able to kill me. I was orbiting 2500 here just to get more DPS on him because I knew he wouldn't be able to track me. I tighten up my orbit here, maybe even foolishly. As you can see, my DPS doesn't fully apply to him now because he started doing some DPS to me. I think it was more important in this situation to do more DPS to him, which is what I realized here. That's why I started pulling out again, just to make sure I do more DPS to him. Because there's a very good, since I've been fighting a G-Tac and there's over 100 in local, there's a good chance that the Brave Police are going to be landing here soon. As you can see, they do come. I'm able to kill this Hecate and fuck the police warp off as their blob lands, which was really fun. That's a nice D-scan. This is a fight with a Harpy against my Firetail. So the Harpy does have blasters, which does make it dangerous close up, but it doesn't get a tracking bonus, so I'm kind of banking on being able to go under his guns. Of course, I am very low here. This is also an arranged 1v1, and a lot of people in CO2 space were fighting me, and this guy offered to fight. And I was already low, like I have like 1/3 of my structure missing. I have like a bunch of fucking heat damage already, but you know, might as well go for it because he's the other guy who's gonna fight me. So he has Scram only, doesn't have a web, which means that he's probably got a small injector and a big shield booster, which you can probably see here. He's boosting pretty hard. I am able to go under quite a lot of his DPS, though. He does get a few missing shots on me. I think he changes to a better ammo type, or he changes the way he flies, though, because he does start actually applying a lot more damage to me You can see he stopped doing damage to me, and then it suddenly comes back on. I think he had Void loaded, and that's why his DPS was so shit. But now he's swapped to Kodai Navy Antimatter or Faction Antimatter, and now he's applying significantly better to me. This is you can see he's actually applying decent damage to me. He also started, I think, moving away from me properly now, so he's applying a bit better. I'm orbiting at 2,500 here. Just to maybe get a bit better tracking. I should have maybe gone a bit closer here. It's hard to tell, because if I'm at this range, he is kind of in fall off, and I'm only in about half of my fall off, so I'm still doing about 80% of my DPS, whereas he's potentially losing half of his DPS to range. And he's obviously losing some of it to tracking too. Although the Harpy does have double optimal bonus, which even on antimatter blasters might be significant. So I'm pretty capped out here, but I'm still in the optimal of my Nosferatu. I'm still draining him, and I think this is kind of where I start. I'm like spamming rep, but he's really low. This is like such a close fight. It was really fun. I kind of wish I wasn't missing like 1/3 of my structure and had more heat here, because I think I could have easily won this fight if I actually had that. But yeah, I get popped at the end there. But that was a pretty fun fight. That kind of shows you what the Firetail can do. Assault frigates are actually pretty strong. So being able to almost win a 1v1 with one is pretty decent. Of course, if he had a web and he was like in a more traditional Harpy fit, like Microwarpdrive, Scram web, medium shield extender, I probably would have had a lot of trouble too. But of course, you can always pull range and run away in the Firetail. That's one of the cool things about it with the AB Scram web. Maybe I could have adjusted my tactics there, but I won't win Scram kiting a Harpy because he has the double optimal bonus, and if he loads null, then I won't be able to Scram kite him. Maybe there's a game to be played though with like darting in, darting out, darting out after ammo swap changes. But anyway, that was a cool fight. I hope you liked this Firetail video, and check out my other videos, etc.